Hello everyone and welcome back. It's Creative Redundancy back again here with another video. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about, it's going to be an open talk about survival type of kits from day to day to longer term versions. Now, before I start, I am no expert in survivalism or bushcraft. I'm just a guy who creates and is trying to learn more and create a better future. Now, survival kits vary depending on environment, season, experience, skill, and knowledge level, and why you would have one in the first place, for whatever the reason is. Now, some may be more general, while some, like a disaster kit, may only be used during an emergency event like a hurricane and such. These kits can be complex or very simple. Simple as like a garbage bag, water bottle with a lighter, and a pocket knife in a pouch or a backpack, to something that's more complex that has all that stuff, including maybe a wind up radio, flashlight, CB radio, and 5 days worth of food and water. Now, it's quite important to know the gear or items within the kit itself very well, as in a time of crisis or an important situation isn't the time to learn, to learn it now, or to learn it the first time. Hey man, thanks for dropping in. Just cue up my intro here real quick. What's up everyone? Hopefully everyone's doing okay. CR's back again with another video, of course. And like I just said 5 seconds ago, I'm going to be talking about survival kits. Just let me load up this side chat here so I can see what's going on. Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. Like I said, I'm going to be talking about survival kits. From the very, very small to the very, very big. And from the very short term to the very long term type of survival kits. I mean, you Google or YouTube search survival kits, there's hundreds of thousands of videos out there. And what you put into one, it depends on your skill level, knowledge level, experience level, what you can get into that space or can afford to put into the kit and such, and things like that. So, I mean, there's kits from a tin kit, like what I have right here, that has, key items inside, to like a GHB, a get home bag, an everyday carry EDC type of bag, or pouch, or tin, or belt system, to something like an evac or a bug out type of bag, all the way up to a very long term type of bag, such as like inch bag, I'm never coming home type of bag. And like I said, what you put inside, it's up to you. But you do want things that can help you, though. Especially things that are hard to recreate, or maybe you don't have the experience or the skill level to, create fire by friction. So of course you bring in uh, flame sources, spark sources, maybe a heat method like solar. So yeah, I mean, and the capabilities of these kits will vary depending on how big they are and what contents are within the system or kit, tin, pouch, or bag itself. Now, something like this tin right here, it's probably gonna be like short term. It might have key things to get you by for a night or two, but after a while, it's gonna be a little bit harder to survive indefinitely or much longer period of time. Just something like this. Not saying it's not doable, but it's gonna be way more difficult. You're gonna have to pull out pardon me, you'll have to pull out every trick in the book kind of deal and use whatever you can find or scavenge or use within your area, depending on the situation, the season, and all that stuff. Now, personally, I carry a tin. That's specifically this one. This one's just one I'm working on. But I carry a tin like this in my pocket. Well, pretty much as long as I've been, I've had, not specifically this tin, but the tin in my pocket right now. And I've also been wearing a belt system as an everyday carry for the last, quite a while. Now I also have longer term kits, something you would consider as a bug out bag, although I'm considering it more like an evac kit. And I also have a longer term bag that you can consider like I'm never coming home or an inch bag. And what you put into it, like I said, will vary. Some things are more for longer term. It might be heavier, so you won't bring it with you day to day and such like that. Oh, looks like I'm getting a few people dropping in. That's cool. Hello. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by CR's live stream, where I'm just talking about kits. Just an open talk about it. All questions are welcome, and after this video has been finalized, you can leave comments down below on any questions or anything you want to talk about in terms of kits. Now, survival kits have a broad range of items that one would consider useful, but that this should also include more specific type of kits, such as a first aid kit, FAK, trauma kits, fire kits, shelter kits, water kits, signaling navigation type of kits, a defense type of kit, maintenance or repair type of kits. I mean, I have a wide range of those. Some are small, some are bigger. Some are more useful, and some are useful enough, depending on their size and weight and stuff like that. That all comes into effect. I know there's a saying that goes something like, it's better to have and not need it than not have it. Because if you don't have it with you, well, it's no use to you. So that one time you don't bring that kind of kit or bag or backpack or whatever might be the time you really need it. It's not going to do any good if it's just at home or in the truck where you don't have access to. Hello, Bruce. Welcome. I'm not familiar with you unless for some reason I'm forgetting. I mean, with so many subscribers, sometimes I forget how many people there really is. I don't remember everyone, but I tend to remember quite a few. Let's see what you said here. How much overlap do you experience in your modular kit systems? Um, I mean, there's key things for me that I overlap. I mean, like stuff like fire, cutting type of tools. I tend to overlap. Shelter, I definitely overlap, just because shelter is one of those important things, especially here in Canada where it gets cold. Shelter, is pretty high on the priority list. So I hope that answers your question, Bruce. Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. That's cool. Then I have no audience. Like I said, anyone can ask any questions during this live stream. Or in the comments section after the live stream is, well, finalized or put up. So yeah, like I was saying, there's a broad range of survival kits. Some are specific, some are more general with key items, some are very small, and some can be, quite big, some are cheap, and some can be, hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of supplies or gear within. Like if you don't have the budget, you can still make something that's usable. There's quite a few of those dollar store, $10, $20, $50 type of survival kits. I mean, there is a bunch of kits out there that are pre-made. There's those survival tins, kind of 72-hour pre-made type of kits. I generally go shy away from them. It's because I find when I see the contents, I feel like I can make one better. And at the end of the day, I want my kit to work for me. I want the items to be useful for me. I mean, there's no point in putting something in if I have no idea how to use it or I've never used it. Speaking of that, it's also important, I find, that you should know how to use the items within the kit. I mean, some things, are self-explanatory, not too complicated. Anyone can pick it up or wing it. Anyone can use a lighter. I mean, flame source, right? But it's totally different if you want. If, for example, like a water filter, you want to make sure that water filter is kind of working. You're getting the suction. There's no, manufacturer defects or anything like that. Take it out of the packaging. Kind of use it if you can. I know some things, once you start using it, you want to use it, but and then there's other things. It says something like, replace after the first year of use and stuff like that. Hey, it's prepping to endure. How's it going, man? Thanks for dropping by. Always appreciate you guys dropping by my live streams, checking out my content, seeing what I'm creating. So yeah, like I was saying, I'm gonna be talking about kits. And all comments and all things on the side chat are welcome. Just reading the side chat real quick here, seeing what you guys are writing. Well, Bruce just wrote, what he wrote is, always something missing or not necessary in those kits. I just kind of want to talk about that for a quick second. I mean, these kits should always be evolving, because as your experience, skill level, income, budget, resources around you change, those kits should be changing with the times, right? Because the world's always going to be changing, but we gotta make sure we're right behind it, so we're not getting hit by a curveball out of nowhere that we didn't see coming. So yeah. Now, the things someone puts in their kits, like I said, it's not vary from time of year, season, your specific skill, knowledge, or experience level. I mean, there's few key things to, keep in mind. Maybe have in some way or form. Now I'm gonna use fire as an example because fire is considered one of those things. Ooh, it's very important for survival, and I mean, for the most part, it is. It gives you a lot of options and stuff like that. So it could be as simple as a lighter, an open flame source, match, stormproof matches, strike anywhere matches. I mean, and something like this is easy to carry. You can easily fit a big clipper lighter, maybe it's a Zippo or matches into a kit to add a fire option. I mean, there's that whole 10 C's of survivability from Dave Canterbury. I mean, for me, it's when I hear it, I mean, I'll recite it and stuff like that, and I know it, but I find that's more of a simplistic way of looking at it, where it's just because you have certain things of the 10 C's doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get through the situation. I mean, the items will be useful, like a lighter, it's gonna be useful in many situations. But like I said, if you don't know how to use it, or you haven't used it, or you haven't, for example, created fire in terms of like a campfire or anything like that, just having something like this isn't gonna be much use to you because you haven't done it or used it or tried it before. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Perfect to endure. You know, he he said he agrees. You know, a kid should always be in a state of update. Keeps you thinking of the if factor. I mean, and a lot of these kits are like, let's say, very specific, like maybe a storm kit or like tornado. If you live down in certain parts of the U.S., they're in tornado alley, or you're on the coast where hurricanes or tropical storms can develop. You know, you might have something more specific for that, where something like I can't name an example. For example, you might have more water than someone that's carrying a bag that's like for getting home from like work or whatever because their car broke down. They might have less water. So, oh yeah, you're totally right. Prepping to endure. The 10 C's of survivability from Dave Canterbury are like a baseline. I I tried to have them covered. Yeah, I guess I just used one of the 10 C's. Yes, cover, which is basically shelter. Like, I learned about it, and I made 10, 5C and 10C type of kits. I'll be like, yeah, okay, I got the coordination there, I got the combustion in there. hmm So, in terms of items, it's not very depending on who you are and skill level and stuff like that in season. But generally, when I think about it, yeah, I can use the 10 C's of survivability as kind of a baseline, but I also remember how I think about it, which is shelter, fire, which also includes light, heat, water for keeping cool, and body or core temperature regulation, which shelter actually helps you regulate your core body temperature too. And of course, food. I mean, that includes traps, snare traps, rat traps, mouse traps, sticky type of traps. Um, let's see, bushcrafting type of traps, like a figure four type of trap. And of course, like fishing, hooks, spearheads, stuff like that. And let's see, regardless of the situation, you want to feel safe. So stuff like defense items, I'll use a knife for example, for defense. This could be bear spray. Now, this also includes keeping yourself safe. So if you get injured, you can patch yourself up. So, first aid, trauma kits. And another section that I like to add is knowing where you are in relation to the area you're in. So that's not include uh, compass, a map, knowing how to navigate by stars, using navigating by the moon, knowing which way is north and south if you're using like a sundial. I mean, there's modern tech like GPS, but sometimes that can fail, or your battery dies, or you break it accidentally because you fell on on some rock or whatever, and you busted the display on it, and you can't operate it, for example. And the last thing is transportation, which I don't hear enough about. Like, this doesn't include things for if you're on the road or whatever and just walking. Like, everyone's got transportation in terms of if you can get on your feet and start walking, you can make distance. But things, wow, kind of, well, kind of tech like wheels, an axle, wheelbarrow, carts, bicycles, cars, trucks, boat, a plane, a helicopter. I would all consider that transportation because in terms of like if you're bugging out, you still need to get to the place. So yes, you can walk it if you need to, but if you got something like a car, that's just gonna make it so much easier to get to your location. I mean, even let's say in the last century, when people were migrating from the East Coast and migrating out west and stuff like that, they had wagons with them where they had supplies like pots, pans, maybe some water, food, including tools, stuff like that. So yes, I consider the 10 C's, but I also consider what I call you can sort of call it, the survival 7. I don't know. I haven't came up with a word or a nice acronym or saying for it, but I tend to remember it like shelter, fire, well, shelter, keeping core body temperature either warm or cool, depending on the time of year, fire, light, and heat, water, cool, uh, body temperature regulating or cooling, and staying hydrated, of course, right? Because we all need water. Can only get by a few days without water, and even after the first day without water, you might start feeling it. And of course, food, uh, safety and security. You want to feel safe, secure, and that your own well-being is taken care of already. And knowing where you are on the planet. So regardless if it's in a cave or you're up in the hills, in a mountain, or in the desert, you're gonna know where you are. So when you're picking a spot to go to, you know where you are and where that location is. So you can be like, okay, I gotta go northeast to this spot because that has civilization or resources I can use, for example. And of course, transportation so you can get there, either by foot or with wheels, such as a bike or a car. So yes, like I said, anyone can leave in comments in the comments section or on the live chat right now if you're listening live. I guess for all you guys watching right now, or if you're watching after I posted the video, do you like smaller kids or do you like bigger kids? Like, Do you like stuff smaller, which means that you can easily put it on you? It may weigh less, or do you like larger kits? And I'll answer that right now for me. I like smaller kits because small kits can always be put into a bigger bag or a bigger kit. But some of these big kits, there might be inconveniences like weight, bulk, that, depending on the situation, you might not have it with you just because it's too bulky or too big. Oh, Bruce, you don't have to credit me with anything, man. It's just kind of, my way of thinking about it from what I've learned, seen, and heard about. Well, that's cool, Bruce, that you like the idea of modular kits. And like I said, you don't have to credit me with that. That's not necessary by any means. Well, like I said, I like stuff that's kind of modular, that can, if need be, adapted for the situation. You know, I mean, there's a lot of examples of people adapting things within the environment in their situation for whatever reason. Where it be, you're stuck on the side of the road in the winter, and you can't get out or whatever, and you gotta use gasoline in the tire to signal or stay warm. For example, like that. Just give me 1 sec, guys. I'm just checking up on something real quick here. Seeing if I can get some more people to drop into the live stream while live. Because I sent a couple of messages out and that was live, but I don't see anyone yet. But, no surprise, it is late, early in the morning here. So, but I'm glad I have a few people here. So, since I'm still here, I guess I'll show off a few kits just to, round it off. So give me a sec, I will get a kit here. Actually, I'll just kind of show off this kit. Now, this is not done by any means, and there's probably more stuff I can add to this. Standard type of puzzle tin. You can easily get this at a store or at the dollar store. And for me, I don't, yeah, it's funny, I don't actually have an Altoids tin, so I've never made an Altoids type of survival kit or fire kit or first aid kit, but I got a bunch of these puzzle tins, and for me they're easier to acquire. Now before I get into this, I'm gonna just comment on what Bruce just wrote. Yeah, sometimes you can have too many backups. Now, I tried to diverse my backups, so I'm gonna use tools, for example. Sometimes people can overdo it, do it on the tools. I've seen videos, no specific channels or names, but I saw this one video. I think it was a get home bag, or it could be a bug out bag. I can't remember, but I think he had like the Victorinox Classic, which is the smaller type of Swiss Army type of tool. He also had, you know, a medium-sized Victorinox like this Recruit that I have here. I think he also had a Mora, another fixed blade, a saw, a survival tool card. I mean, that's a lot. I think he also had some sort of multi-tool like a Letterman or a Gerber. I was saying, yes, you have a lot of stuff to make stuff with, but that's gonna be because it's mostly metal. Those tools, it's not add quite a bit of weight. And when I was leaving a comment, I was saying, you might be more likely to, for example, use, the medium size Victorinox, like this Recruit here, over using the Classic, just because the blade's longer and stuff like that. So, if you wanted to shed weight, you can probably get away with this over, like, the Classic. And I also think he had, like, multi-tool, well, they had a multi-tool pliers or something like that, and that Letterman or a Gerber. I was just like, well, the smaller type of multi-tools, they might be useful for certain things, but a lot of the time you can just get away with just using, a larger multi-tool or having it with you, because most of the time you might be using that a little bit more often, especially if you're not working with fine things or stuff like that. So let's see. Yes, Propagander said redundancy can be overdone by kind of worth it. There's also that kind of, you know, 1 is 9, 2 is 1, and 3 is 2, and 4 is more kind of sane. I mean, there's a certain point where you can overdo on the backups. Okay. Oh, okay. So Propagander actually meant redundancy can be overdone, but kind of worth it. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. So yeah, this whole 1 is 9, 2 is 1, and 3 is 2 thing, having backups allows you to, to have a contingency type of plan. You lose that knife, you still got another cutting tool. But what I like to do is have it where the redundancies or the contingency plan or the backups are slightly different. Slightly different. So, for example, instead of bringing maybe 3 fixed blade knives, it might be a fixed blade, a saw, and an axe or a hatchet. Or it could be, let's say a fixed blade, a multi-tool that has maybe pliers, a saw, and an axe and a hatchet. So even if I do lose one, other items can still be used in terms of cutting or processing, like wood, for example. So going back to this puzzle tin type of kit, now I generally consider smaller kits, these tins, maybe something that can fit in your pocket, as more to supplement what you usually would carry. such as, maybe it's a belt knife, garbage bag, metal water bottle, things that you would want to bring anyways. But these things are there just in case, oh, I lost, I, I lost a ferro rod that's on my knife sheath, for example, right? Oh, thank goodness I brought that extra later, or, something like that. So, I mean, like in this one right now, I got tape in a layered method, which I've shown in the how to store tape. It's one of the ways that I like to store tape now. It's non-continuous, but I could sure fit a lot in a small space. Paper to write on. It burns, obviously. Let's see. A pen, well, to write with the paper. A small mini utility knife to cut with, maybe make feather sticks. Some braided cordage. Some jute twine. More parachute type of cordage. And a trash bag. And this is what I currently have in this tin right here. Now the other one that I actually have in my pocket right now kind of has all of this and some more stuff. And stay tuned, probably a little bit later, maybe a couple more weeks, I'll probably be releasing version 2 of my supplemental survival kit, which is in my pocket right now. But this is just another one I'm making, maybe to barter with or something like that, or give to a friend that's maybe with me, so they don't have to heavily rely on me. They got, maybe they don't have any gear, or they have a lack of gear with them, maybe not as experienced or as knowledgeable as some of the rest of us, but I feel like I can still give them something that they can use. So kind of my reasoning on why I have these, and besides, it's fun to make. I guess I got a piece of fat wood in there too, so as I try to put this back in here before I go on to the next section. So put this back in. Almost thought I lost the lid or misplaced the lid. Oh, that's cool, Bruce. Then you gave out some fire kits for Christmas. Yeah, I can imagine. You spent a long time explaining everything. I mean, a lot of times most adults, and technically, like, some younger people, they kind of know more or less what fire is. Like, you give someone a lighter, like this Bic that I have. Yeah, most people know what this is. They know. But, you start giving them something like, a spark-based method like a ferro rod, or something, or maybe a heat method like solar. They don't know it because they haven't done it before. So, you could explain it, like, Oh, with Sparks, you gotta make sure it's pretty fine, lots of surface area, and in terms of solar, you know, oh, you gotta kind of make your tinder darker so it absorbs solar thermal energy faster, compressed, so you can create an amber or a nice glowing ball of, of a coal. Hey, it's Chaos Paddlers. What's up, man? Thanks for dropping by my live stream. Greatly appreciate it. And just like everyone else that's here right now. Not sure how long you've been here, but I've just been talking about survival kits. Just an open talk about survival kits. And how, just because you have one doesn't necessarily mean you'll survive, though. Because you gotta have that knowledge up here, the skills in your hands, and the experience of possibly doing it from before, such as making fire, making shelter, learning how to make a water filter. And, all that stuff with food, trapping, fishing, and all that stuff. So yeah, I was just showing off this survival tin, or what I really will call it as a supplemental survival kit. Meant to the items are meant to supplement, what I usually would carry. Because it's kind of hard to survive a long period of time with just a tin like this, which is, items in here. Oh yeah. It's not prepping to endure. There's also differences between a country rural setting to an urban in the city type of setting. Things could be slightly different. I mean, but key things are still you gotta feel safe where you are. Feel warm or cool, depending. If it's hot out, well, you want to feel cooler. If it's colder out, you want to feel warm. You want to be able to get access to food and water, and know where you are in relation to wherever you are. So let's say, for example, if it's like an earthquake type of situation or a tornado, at times when those things happen, certain landmarks or street addresses or street signs won't be available. You might not even know where you are just because, the whole place has changed. Like, you don't have any landmarks to go on. I mean, that's what really happens after tornadoes when people come out from the storm shelters. Everything's just scattered everywhere. It's hard to know where you are. Like, you might know you're in front of your place, but you're not sure. This way is to blah blah XYZ's place, right? Yeah, because it's supposed to be to the right of me. Like, you might not even know, just because, everything scatters, debris everywhere, things are falling down, trees are falling down, so there's no landmarks like that. And, the only thing you might be going on is like a compass. If you're looking maybe a GPS. Let's see. Virals. Yeah, virals.tv. virales.tv. Welcome to my live stream. Thank you for dropping by. Where I'm just talking about kits. and kind of my understanding about it, and things that I like to keep in my, or maybe keep inside the tin pouch or bag, or a belt kit, or even in your pockets. Because the thing is, when you need it the most, it's probably gonna be that time when you don't have it. I mean, let's say you're going shopping or whatever. Oh, you made room for more groceries, but you had to slim down your get home bag. Something happens, and you kind of wish you had the full size get home bag. So stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I got small kits like this to, let me go get them here real quick in front of me. To a belt, I mean, not a belt, but a pouch kit like this one right here, which I'll show later on, which I have brought this out. Actually, I had this out last February. It's got key things inside, meant for shorter amount of time, short-term survival, nothing long-term. It's clearly not meant as to bug out or a get-home bag. Here's another bag right here, which is more of a backup type of bag for me, for someone else to use. It's lighter weight, but still has stuff like shelter, water, food, fire, uh, safety and security, and knowing where you are in relation to the rest of the environment. So I still need to add a map in here, hopefully soon, but I do have, some of the basics: shelter, fire, water, food. Yeah, right here is kind of, the more everyday carry type of bag that I carry. If I can carry a backpack, I'll carry this. Now, this still has, some of the key things, but it might have less water, a little less food, but it also contains more stuff for me to help me create, because I'm always in creation mode. So I got a Leatherman in here, with a saw and stuff like that, so I can, if I find something on the side of the road or whatever, I can unscrew it or cut it off or whatever. Hello, Alex. Welcome back to my live stream. Thanks for dropping by. Oops. Stupid typo. It's supposed to say yeah, not yo or whatever I wrote. Now, I also have like an evac type of kit, which for intensive purposes, you can call it a bug out bag, but I tend to call it an evac kit. It's a lighter weight version of my longer term kit, which is, you can consider it as I'm never coming home or an H bag. Because sometimes you need to leave more quickly than you think, or you're gonna bug out quickly, as in leave quickly. For you know, you know, my place is burning. Well, I might not be able to get access to H bag like I want to, but at least I got an evac kind of type of bug out bag nearby, just outside the door, so I can grab that and go, and still have something to work with. Well, something to work with. So I'm not just leaving with like nothing. So I still have something to work with. I mean, I have some gear to work with. There's plenty of acronyms around there. There's like a whole list. I mean, and apparently there's like a few more that I'm not familiar with because they're not as popular. But once you start understanding, you'd be like, oh, this means that. Oh, I see. I know some of my subscribers or viewers are not specifically, into survivalism or bushcrafting or prepping as much as other people are. So they don't understand some of the terminology. So, but basically, I'm never coming home type bag is generally gonna be a longer term bag. Something like a get home bag GHB or a bug out bag is probably a day to a few days. Of course, anyone can make anything stretch or ration the food more so it lasts longer, but generally it's gonna be short or long term. And right now I have both short term and a longer term bag. And like I said, I basically considered tins like these supplemental add-on, especially if these are paired with certain key items like a water bottle, maybe some sort of survival type of knife, or maybe I have this tin and I'm pairing it up with like this Victorinox type of Swiss Army knife with a water bottle, just because I have this and the water bottle, having this, it just gives me even more options. And I generally, I'll carry one. I have one in my pocket right now, just because it's so convenient for me to carry. And it might just have simple stuff like an extra trash bag, some cordage to tie things with, jute twine to tie things with, fire starter, spare laser, maybe a spare whistle, some sort of compass or where I can navigate, know my bearings, especially if it's cloudy out, no stars out, no moon out, can't use a sundial, and let's say it's winter, so you can't kind of tell where the plants are facing south. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna cut this this live stream short, unless anyone's got something else to say for me while I'm on live. I'll probably be coming back for another video or another live stream after this, as I kind of talk about, you know, what I call the Survival 7, where I talk about, you know, shelter, fire, water, food, safety and security, and navigation, orientation, and transportation and movement. So if you guys want to come back in for that, feel free. And if you're watching this after the fact, well, it'll probably be in my playlist or on my channel, so you can go check it out too. Well, I'm all for winging it, but sometimes, you know, certain key items can help even if you had to wing it, you know, a little bit easier. Just because certain things take time to create, or you're not at the right location to acquire it naturally, or it's the wrong time of year. I mean, like, yeah, you can use roots to tie stuff, but during the winter, that's probably gonna be really, really hard. And something like a container to boil in or to cook in, you know, if you just brought, you know, a metal water bottle or a can, for example, you know, it'd be easier versus trying to stone boil some water with hot rocks or something like that. I mean, around here we don't have access to like bamboo, so we can't per se make a container like that. And I've heard about making birch bark containers, but as far as I know, it takes a little bit of time to do. Especially if you haven't done it before, you know, there might be a learning curve. So yes, I will be coming back after this live stream for another live stream after a short intermission, so you guys can stay tuned for that. So it's time for my outro here. Now, as the world changes, so must oneself. To reach a new level of skill and knowledge, one must practice. Now, a single person can't help everyone in this world, but one person can help someone in this world. Alright guys, until the next video for me, it's peace out from the guy that's always in creation mode and always trying to learn new things, because that knowledge can help in so many different ways that, you know, you might not even have noticed, because, you know, for me, I know it helps. So until the next video for me guys, it's peace out from Creative Redundancy. Catch you later. Peace.